The sixth commandment in our series is Sanctify God's name, and the seventh commandment is similar to that. It is do not profane God's name. Now, both of these mitzvot, or commandments, come from Leviticus 22:32, which reads, "You shall not profane my holy name, that I may be sanctified among the people of Israel. I am the Lord who sanctifies you."
You know, what I find is really interesting when it comes to sanctifying the name of God is we as believers often assume that it means we are to sanctify the combination of the Hebrew letters that make up his name in the Bible. That's the Yod, He, Vav, He. In other words, we're to treat that combination of Hebrew letters as sacred. I do strongly believe that we are never to use God's name with disrespect. But in Hebrew, your name, it really has more to do with character and reputation.
Right. Sanctifying God's name means living your life in such a way that reflects well upon who God is, his character and reputation, as he said. That's why the last part of the verse says, "I am the Lord who sanctifies you." So the sanctification of God's name is directly connected to our sanctification. In other words, when we live a holy life, a sanctified life unto God by keeping his Torah and his commandments, we are sanctifying God's name.
That's right. So when we keep God's commandments, like loving your neighbor and so forth, we're keeping the command to sanctify God's name. And when we live a life of sin and rebellion, we're actually profaning his name.
That's right. You know, along with these commandments is the eighth commandment in our series, which is do not destroy objects associated with God's name. And this comes from Deuteronomy chapter 12, 2-4. And in this passage, it's interesting. God tells Israel to go into the land that he's given them, and they are to destroy all the places of worship of the pagans that are in the land. And they're to destroy the altars, the sacred pillars, all of that, and they are to wipe out the names of those pagan gods. And then in verse 4, it says something interesting. It says, "But you shall not do so unto the Lord your God." So from that passage, the rabbis derived this commandment that unlike the objects that were destroyed of other gods, we are not to destroy objects associated with the name of the Lord.
That's good. That's why even if you look at traditional Judaism, they treat objects like the Torah scroll with so much reverence that if they ever needed to get rid of it or discard it, instead of just throwing it in the dumpster or the trash can, what they do is they take it and they bury it.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful tradition. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and as we continue our journey through the 613 commandments, we'll see you next time. Shalom.
Shalom.